Okay, today I'm going to show you how to set up a quarantine tank or setup. Right here I've just got an 18-gallon plastic tub. You can use pretty much any plastic container or any large container that holds water and doesn't have any chemicals on it. If you have a separate entire glass aquarium for a quarantine setup, which I recommend, you can use that. Before you use your tub or plastic container, make sure to thoroughly rinse it out. Don't use any soaps or cleaning agents though, because that can be harmful to the fish's gills. But just use warm water and scrub it out with a sponge. Alright, so right here I've just got a small internal filter. It's pre-cycled, so it's been running and there's a bunch of bacteria in there. So if you don't have a cycled filter, then before you add fish to your quarantine setup, make sure your entire setup is fully cycled before adding fish to your quarantine setup. I'm not going to add a heater to this because the fish that I'm putting in this quarantine setup don't need a heated aquarium. But if you are gonna put fish like tropical fish in a quarantine setup, make sure you just drop a heater in there. Place it across from the filter so the filter kind of moves the heat around. Make sure there's good water flow around the heater. Alright, so I've added 5 gallons of water and I've already added my dechlorinator. Alright, as you can see, I just moved it from where it was to a new spot. It was kind of in the way in the other spot. So the fish that I'm putting in here are just small little fry, so make sure to take your filter and sleeve it with something to protect the fry from getting sucked into the intake. Alright, so I just covered my intake with some filter floss. Since the water is not at room temperature yet, I'm just going to let it sit for like an hour and adjust to room temp. While this is adjusting to room temp, you can add a couple little hiding spots. I like to use PVC elbow joints so the fish can swim in and out and be able to see both ways. You can also use rocks and fake plants to help hide the fish, because they're in quarantine, so they're going to be a little stressed out. That's why I don't recommend putting a light on your quarantine tank, because a little too much light is going to bother your fish. Alright, time to move the fry from this bucket to this bucket. The water temperatures are the same because they're at room temp. I'm just going to net the little guys out of there and add them in here. Alright, I've netted all of the little minnows from here, and they're all in here. You can kind of see some of the little fries darting around. There's a little bit of debris on the bottom, but the filter should pick that up, and whatever the filter hasn't picked up, I'll just siphon out when I do water changes. So that's about it for a quarantine setup. It's pretty simple. You can treat your fish in here. If you have a sick fish in an aquarium, you can put it in here. If you have a new fish you're putting in an aquarium, you can put them in here and then put them to your new tank. If you like this video or it was helpful, like this video and go check out my channel and subscribe so eventually we can do bigger and better projects.